Here's the dirty little secret of how the US empire pays for all its wars. They don't. We do. The dollar is the world reserve currency, and the US weaponizes it to exert influence over its empire. However, as with all empires, eventually their hubris gets the best of them. In 1971, Nixon ended the gold standard, which means the US dollar is no longer convertible to gold. This effectively gave politicians the power to create money out of thin air. This is important because gold for centuries acted as a balancing force, preventing politicians from creating money out of thin air. And as the saying goes, absolute power corrupts absolutely. Since then, the US debt has gone parabolic. Look at this graph. It's gone from 1 trillion to 33.4 trillion and accelerating even faster. They finance these wars by issuing more debt in the form of bonds or treasuries. And the world buys that debt. That's all there is, it's just debt. Your country, your bank, your multinational corporation all hold US debt on their balance sheet. Even some of you might hold US government treasuries. All these entities essentially lend money to the US, which the US then uses to fund endless wars around the world, including the current Israeli genocide in Gaza. I know what you're thinking. So if they can create money out of thin air, they'll always have money, and they can pay back their debts, and they can fund endless wars forever. Kind of. You're kind of right. Of course, the US won't default. Push comes to shove, they'll just print money out of thin air, and they will pay you back. Pay the interest on their debt to you, the bondholders. This is your treasury yield. But when you create more of something, that thing becomes less valuable. This is what inflation is. This is the only cause for inflation, increasing the money supply. Don't let them tell you anything else. It's definitely not Putin's price hike or any of that nonsense you hear on mainstream media. Look at this chart of the purchasing power of the US dollar since 1971. It's going to zero because they keep making more of it, so each one becomes less valuable and buys less. So they will pay you your interest or your yield, but that interest will be less than the inflation rate. So in nominal terms, you're getting paid, but in real terms, you're getting screwed. This is late-stage empire shit. This is how every empire fell, funding endless wars with money they don't have. The Romans shaved off some gold from their coins to make more coins. The British faked interest in the war bonds during World War I and just printed their way out of it, causing more inflation. So now holders of US debt, countries, multinational corporations, even rich individuals, have two options. Get wrecked in real terms, or two, stop lending their money to the US empire and put their money into real hard assets like real estate, gold, or Bitcoin, digital gold. Bitcoin is an open source protocol that we will need to resist tyranny and financial colonialism. Bitcoin, not crypto. Study it. In the fiat world, where money can be created out of thin air, the marginal cost of war is zero. Under a Bitcoin standard, we can make war expensive again because no one can just create Bitcoins out of thin air. You'll have to spend a lot of energy to create Bitcoin, and that's a feature, not a bug. That's why it was engineered to require a lot of energy to make. Making money is supposed to be hard. It shouldn't be like that. Here's a book by Palestinian Jordanian author Dr. Saifuddin Ammous called The Bitcoin Standard. It is the best-selling book on Bitcoin in the world. Read it or listen to it. Most importantly, study it and understand it. Bitcoin separates money from state and allows us to exchange value peer-to-peer without the need for a trusted intermediary between us. This is a super powerful concept and a threat to the colonial systems of control. So stop lending your money to the US government and buy some Bitcoin instead. Or at least be aware of where your money is going and boycott these institutions, not just the brands who allocate your money. Fix the money, fix the world. The emperor has no clothes. Free Palestine.